Bondi did exactly that. She said there's no list.
She said the list was on her desk. Okay.
She said the files were on her desk.
She said the list was on her desk, not the files,
she didn't.
the list. She
Listen
said
to the quote.
Is on
she
my
was
desk.
asked about the list, and she said it's on my desk. She did not say the word list.
Wait, yeah,
She
but
said it's on my desk.
Donald Trump is the president, okay?
Yeah.
And Pam Bondi works for him. So could he not have said to her, release everything? Release it. Redact the names, redact the victims, redact it all, but release it.
Yeah, and there's going to be zero.
I think
He did absolutely
well, first of all,
nothing
that's
about
not
this.
But Joe Biden did not run on releasing all
It
of the
doesn't
Epstein
matter.
files.
He
didn't
still
run on
has
that.
an obligation.
Wait,
If there were
hold on.
people, this audience has wanted to hear that there's a list of Democrats who went to the island and did things they shouldn't have done with young girls, and they're not going to hear that.
Right. But I mean,
Obviously a hit job. Obviously a drive-by shooting trying to go after President Trump.
MAGA hat stays on, all right? The MAGA hat stays on. The MAGA hat is fully on. We're locked in.
Hello, everybody. Guys, let's get right into this segment. This was just so amazing to watch. These MAGA pundits are all falling in line with this Epstein file thing. This is just incredible. After being called losers and idiots, they're all back on their knees where they belong. Check this out and we'll talk about it.
MAGA is standing united behind Donald Trump after that Wall Street Journal report that claimed that the president sent a suggestive birthday note to Jeffrey Epstein. Trump completely denies the story, but you will also remember not too long ago, MAGA was starting to crack because Trump had promised the Epstein files and his DOJ didn't deliver. So now they have suddenly made a sharp U-turn.
This thing was obviously a hit job, obviously a drive-by shooting trying to go after President Trump.
This is the deep state. This is the ruling class in America. They're trying to use it to destroy President Trump. And
MAGA hat stays on, all right? The MAGA hat stays on. The MAGA hat is fully on. We're locked in.
Dan Coe is with us at the table now. So Dan, that was easy.
I think Jack, especially, who looked like an absolute buffoon as a result of what Pam Bondi did with the binder that said Epstein Files Phase 1 when there wasn't anything new in there and he was selfieing it like it was some revelation, should be the one most enraged at this. And to your point earlier in the earlier segment, there were so many other parts of this where Donald Trump said it was a lie and then it was debunked. You know, Don Jr., for example, tweeted that this doesn't sound like my dad and that he never used the word enigma. And then immediately a video comes up of him calling Tucker Carlson an enigma, right? And then on top of that, after
Someone was like, I asked AI if he'd ever used enigma.
and it's like, yeah, okay, that's a real zinger there. But on top of all that, only when he started to feel the pressure, all of a sudden he starts calling this the Epstein hoax, right? Which is not only insulting to all of the people who have supported him who've been trying to do this. I can't even imagine what it would be like if you were a family of a victim or a victim yourself, and the president of the United States, whose job it is first and foremost to support the most vulnerable and protect them, is saying things like that. And I think we should all be embarrassed by a president who goes about it like that.
I think he's calling the hoax Democrats who are feigning
But if you
that
listen,
they
if you
care.
listen to what people are saying, they say you are calling this a hoax, right? He says the whole thing's a hoax. That's what he's saying, right? His tweets do not say what Democrats are doing to me. He says this is an Epstein hoax, and he's implying that there's a falsity to this that is just not true.
Well, the falsity is that there's no list. I think we know that. I don't believe there's a list. I don't think there ever has been a list. And I agree. I don't know what the party line is right now. It's 1019. It could change at 1020. But what I want to say is Bondi botched this, without a doubt.
I think that's absolutely true.
Not just with the binders, but she botched it because she thinks her credibility comes with her title in association with Donald Trump. Credibility in this era comes by delivering the message to the audience that they want to hear. And this audience has wanted to hear that there's a list of Democrats who went to the island and did things they shouldn't have done with young girls, and they're not going to hear that.
Right. But I mean,
But they're not going to
last
hear
I
it
checked,
because there
Donald
might be
Trump is the president, okay?
Yeah.
And Pam Bondi works for him. So could he not have said to her, release everything? Release it. Redact the names, redact the victims, redact it all, but release it.
Yeah, and there's going to be so many redactions that neither the right nor the left is going to be satisfied. They're always going to want more information.
But that's better than just saying it's not real. When you ran on it is real and I will prove to you it is real, and then you just Jedi, no, it's not real. You can't do
How
that
real
to
was
the
it during
voters.
Biden's administration when they did absolutely nothing? They did absolutely nothing to seek justice for those victims. They never even talked about releasing the files. This didn't happen just 6 months ago.
Even if Trump and them had just said, we did an investigation and we looked and we checked all the computers and you know what? There was no Word document. Sorry about that. Instead of just going hoax, which suggests that nothing.
Pam Bondi did exactly that. She said there's no list.
She said the list was on her desk. Okay.
She said the files were on her desk.
She said the list was on her desk, not the files,
she didn't.
the list. She
Listen
said the
to the quote.
Is on
she
my
was
desk.
asked about the list, and she said it's on my desk. She did not say the word
Okay,
list.
wait, yeah,
She
but
said it's on my desk.
Okay, you just said it. She was asked about the list, and she said it's on my desk.
Yes.
So most rational people would assume that she was responding to the issue about the list.
This is just so insane to me. The arguments that he's making. This is what happens when you're in a cult. Did he forget that Bondi said she had it on her desk? We have video of it, you dumb shit. Again, step back and take a look at what we're seeing here. This dude is not an idiot. I've seen him 1,000 times, along with all these other MAGA pundits. They're trying to defend Trump and shield him from his clear, sick involvement with Epstein. And half of these pricks are saying Dems were obsessed with this whole Epstein files thing. And then the other half are saying Dems didn't focus on it. Like, we all know that Biden wasn't focused on digging up old cases about how Trump is a predator. We all knew this on this side. His voters were the ones foaming from the mouth for it. We on this side knew he was. Over 24 sexual assault allegations that none of these MAGA voters believe. Being held civilly held liable for rape. None of his MAGA voters believe in that. Like, this is unbelievable. It was the Republicans, obviously, who were salivating. He even admitted it, to be able to say, look, the Dems are evil. And all our conspiracies are true about them. And the weird, creepy things that we say and obsess over. That was clear projection now. And they look stupid. The voters look stupid. And they got smacked down by their daddy Trump and fell back in line like good little boys. You see those pundits there? Those are good little boys. Good boy. Sit up and shut up. It's so pathetic. No one, and then this whole listing, no one here thinks that there's a list labeled perfectly. Again, it's a list that could be made if the Epstein files were released. It's not that hard to understand. This is all a game to try to defend and shield Trump. It was reported that only about 10% of the totality of the Epstein files has been revealed. Think about what we already know. And Trump is disgusting comments, a wonderful little secret to Epstein. What the F do you think the wonderful little secret is? I would bring that up to every single Republican on all these panels, even if the subject is not about that. This party, let's just say it, it's the party of child abusers. I don't know how else to say it. There is no way you no longer believe anything, and now it's all fake with this whole Epstein thing. You saw that idiot Charlie and the child trafficking factory, and that other jackass Jack Posobiec? It's sick to watch.
But it's things she's done as, for her credibility. I agree that was a very dumb moment. And I think she just was talking out of her butt. She didn't know what she was talking about. She's just assuming there must be something. And then she actually looks into it. And then there's the release of the binders with absolutely nothing in them.
And this is why I think all of the top influencers for Trump should be absolutely enraged at that whole scene, because she was betting on their ignorance, right? Pam Bondi was betting that the stuff in there would be manipulative to those influencers to go out and say it's something new, when she knew full well that it was nothing new. They went out and claimed it was new, and it was immediately debunked. They look like buffoons. They look like buffoons again.
But now they have a new enemy, and it's the Wall Street Journal. Congressman Randy Fine is so pissed off, he says he has legislation that would end House of Representatives subscription contracts to the Wall Street Journal. He said Americans shouldn't be paying for disgusting and filthy rags. I've also directed my entire staff to delete their taxpayer-funded Wall Street Journal accounts.
And it's going to work. It's going to work. To your point in the first break, the idea that that they had infighting about whether or not to release it within MAGA, there was infighting. That's a family fight. But then when somebody comes from outside and goes, oh, you don't mess with the family, then MAGA united again. Let's go attack the Wall Street Journal or whatever media threat is out there that's creating and that it's a... It's a perfect play.
I think one of the other crazy parts about this is that Trump is trying to, and you alluded to this, he's making the entire Epstein situation, which we know is very real, has very real victims. We know that there are other people involved. And he's saying the whole thing is a Democrat hoax. And I can't think of any reason why he would be doing that, except because he thinks the only way to bury questions about him is to bury the whole thing.
Well, he's pointing out that Democrats are trying to exploit this wedge, one, in the MAGA movement, and two, the fact that they just want to attack Donald Trump because they hope that there's some smoking gun about him in there. When again, I want to finish this point. Joe Biden was president for 4 whole years. Whether he knew it or not, I don't know. But he was president. And what did he do? Zero.
I
he
think
did absolutely nothing about this.
But Joe Biden did not run on releasing all
It
of the
doesn't
Epstein
matter.
files.
He
didn't
still
run on
has
that.
an obligation.
Wait,
if there were
hold on.
people who should have been
hold on.
prosecuted, why didn't he do it?
First of all, can I just say one real quick? I mean, I'll let you talk because you worked for Joe Biden. But Joe Biden didn't run on the Epstein files. He also, as you have pointed out yourself, there might be very good reasons why those files have not been released, including that if you're going to release the names of people who you're alleging are involved in child sex trafficking, maybe you should have the goods on them before you release their names. So there are potentially some very good reasons to not release it. However, the people who wanted it released are conservatives. Those are the people who pushed for it. And so the ball's not in Joe Biden's court on this one.
Yeah,
Or the
Abby makes a
Democrats.
great point. I mean, releasing the files, I mean, those are lawsuits waiting to happen. A ton of lawsuits, possibly, depending on how many people are named in them, waiting to happen. And you can't just release things without the goods. You know, you could be accusing people of things that they may or may not have done. But let's also keep in mind, though, that you know, I do think that if there's something on Donald Trump in there, it would have leaked at some point. You know, we've got his taxes leaked, other things. And let's face it, I don't think anybody should have been friends with Jeffrey Epstein at any point in time. The guy seemed sleazy from the get-go. But Donald Trump did actually kick him out of his club. He ejected him from his club, and he ended the friendship, something that Bill Gates certainly did not do.
Well, we know the birth.
They had a fight because of a real estate deal. It had nothing to do with what Epstein was doing. Like, this is so insane to me that does no one on the panel know that by now? It was over a real estate deal. Really, Trump found this out and was like, oh no, I can't be associated with someone like you. Come on, who believes this crap?
Birthday book did somehow get to the Wall Street Journal.
I think it's ironic that we've just heard for the past year everyone accusing Democrats of gaslighting everybody with Joe Biden. And then you turn around and Republicans are saying, oh, just because we have endless videos of him cavorting with Jeffrey Epstein, just because Virginia Giuffre was at Mar-a-Lago and recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell. But no, he doesn't really know Jeffrey Epstein, and it wasn't a big relationship. Do we really think that he didn't wish him a happy birthday? I mean, like, whether or not he drew it or typed it is like semantics to me. The notion that
so wishing him a happy birthday is criminal behavior?
This notion that somehow he is disconnected from Jeffrey Epstein, that he never knew him, that he barely knew him, like Trump likes to say, I haven't talked to him in all this time, I think that is gaslighting the American public.
And look, wishing him a happy birthday is not a crime, obviously, but Donald Trump thinks it's worthy of a $20 billion libel lawsuit. So he clearly thinks that it's a fact pattern for him in this particular moment. Coming up next,
Republicans, they are bending you over and calling you a dumbass and a loser while they do it. No flowers, no chocolate. Papi, that ain't right. Trump said he doesn't want your support if you believe the Epstein files. Think about it. I mean, it's extremely likely what this child abuser is telling you about the whole Epstein file. That man is telling you he doesn't want your support for believing that is likely a child abuser. Think about that for a minute. Pause the video if you have to. He doesn't want your support. And listen, you want to be in your cult, and I think that's all that this is. You want to feel like you belong to this community or some group. And I assume you feel alone without this group. You have to know that this is wrong. I know you know this is wrong. To be called a loser and a dumbass because you wanted Trump to do something he promised. And all these MAGA pundits that you trusted dangled in front of you like red meat is incredible, unbelievable. You got to wake up. You got to be stronger than that. To go crawling back is just so pathetically weak. I could never be a Republican. If that's what it takes, have to display that kind of weakness, show some respect for yourself. You don't have to vote Democrat. I don't care about that. It's about wrong is wrong. Just really put yourself in this position. What if it was your daughter that was working at Mar-a-Lago for Trump? Like Virginia Giuffre, who was then picked up there by Epstein and trafficked. Like, do you really need to even to have a daughter and put yourself in that position to understand how sick this is? And I hear this new view as well that, oh, well, I don't agree with, you don't have to agree with everything the man does to support him. Like, I'm sorry, this isn't increasing or lowering taxes or foreign policy or whatever it is. This is effing child abuse. Think about what you're saying and what you're trying to make excuses for. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. Really helps the channel. Really helps get the message out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.